Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And if you're watching afterwards, this is an interactive presentation presented by CLS staff attorney Nashia Conway regarding child support modification. Again, thank you for joining us tonight.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Jordan just stated, my name is Nashia Conway, and I am a staff attorney with Community Legal Services of Prince George's County, Maryland. I currently staff the Family Law Brief Advice Clinic, and tonight I will be talking about child support and child support modifications. Again, this is an interactive presentation. I'll go through some basic information, but please, if you have a question, please let us know in the comments so we can address your question and give you some information. With that being said, I'll get straight into the presentation. All right, so as I stated, this presentation is going to be about child support and child support modifications in Maryland. So this is the agenda. We're going to discuss what is child support, where you can file for child support. We're going to go over a brief overview of the child support guidelines, the old versus new. We're going to review the factors that are used to calculate a child support amount. We're going to also look at the court's discretion to deviate from the child support guidelines. We're going to talk a little bit about voluntary impoverishment. We're also going to do a brief overview of the child support modification. And at the end, we're going to review some of the forms that you would use if you wanted to file for child support or file for child support modification. And after we're done with that, if you have any questions, feel free to just submit them in the comments so we can address them at the end. All right, so let's get into it. What is child support? So child support is defined as the payment from one parent to the other parent for the purpose of financially supporting the children. Both parents have a legal duty to support their children based on their ability to provide that support. The court will use the child support guidelines to determine the amount of child support that will be paid by the non-custodial parent to the custodial parent. Child support is awarded to the custodial parent and payment is made by the non-custodial parent with the less parenting time. So I get this question a lot. Where do you file for child support? So let's say you're ready to file for child support and you want to know your options as far as where you can file. So you can file at the Office of Child Support Enforcement, which is located in Temple Hills, Maryland, or you can file at the Circuit Court, the Prince George's County Circuit Court in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. So let's just briefly look at the old child support guidelines. Again, these are no longer in effect, but I just wanted to go over this with you in case you've had your child support calculated on the old child support guidelines. And let's say now you want to do a modification. So it's good to kind of go back and look at the old guidelines before we go into the new guidelines. So under the old guidelines, how many overnights the child or children spend with each parent determines if the court will use the sole custody guidelines or the shared custody guidelines. Under the old statute, shared physical custody means that the non-custodial parent has a child or children overnight for more than 35% of the time or 128 overnights per year. If the parent has the child or children less than 35% of the time or 127 overnights per year or less, then the sole custody guidelines apply. Again, these are the old guidelines, but I just wanted to go over them with you all before we discuss the new guidelines. All right, so the new child support guidelines. So the new statute took effect on October 1st, 2020. It converts the 128 overnights divider between sole and shared custody guidelines into a downward slope between the two sets of guidelines. First, the statute lowers the number of overnights from 35% to 25% of the time. So under the old guidelines, it was 35%. Now it's 25%. Which means that the sole custody guidelines will only be applicable to cases where the non-custodial parent has the child or children less than 25% of the time, which equals to about less than 92 overnights per year. The shared custody guidelines will be applicable to cases where the non-custodial parent has the child or children more than 30% of the time or 110 or more overnights per year. And for the non-custodial parent that has the child or children more than 92 overnights but less than 110 overnights per year, the new statute establishes an incremental calculation to determine child support. This formula is as follows. So before I go any further, I know this may be a little confusing to say, those are a lot of numbers. Again, if you need more if you need more of a 101, you can always contact our office, and I'll be more than happy to discuss this more with you, and also to assist you with your case if you need to, in fact, file for a child support or a child support modification and you have a hard time understanding the guidelines. But I will go over the formula just to kind of show you what it looks like. All right, so the basic child support amount due is multiplied by 0.10 if the non-custodial parent has a child or children for more than 25%, which equals at least 92 overnights, but less than 26%, not more than 94 overnights of the year. The basic child support amount due is multiplied by 0.08 if the non-custodial parent has the child or children for more than 26% of the, more than 26%, which equals at least 95 overnights, but less than 27%, not more than 98 overnights of the year. The basic child support amount due is multiplied by 0.06 if the non-custodial parent has a child or children for more than 27%, but less than 28%. So you can kind of see basically, the calculation that's being used. I won't go through the last two because I don't want to overwhelm you with the numbers. Again, the main point is to show you the new calculation and to show you how it's calculated based upon the number of overnights. So how does the court calculate child support? So here are some of the things that the courts consider when they are making a determination about child support. So they will figure out each parent's actual income, which includes wages, bonuses, and other forms of income, commission, etc. They'll also figure out each parent's adjusted actual income or imputed income. They will add up both parents' adjusted actual incomes or their imputed incomes. The combined amount is plugged into the guidelines chart to determine the basic child support obligation. They will factor in some additional expenses, including health insurance costs, daycare costs, and any extraordinary medical expenses. This will generate the total child support obligation. The non-custodial parent will be responsible for paying a percentage of the total child support obligation. So, in case you are wondering if the court always have to follow the guidelines. So, the child support can actually be lower than the guideline amount, but it is hard to get the court to order a lower amount. And you would need to show, one, why the guideline amount is unfair or unjust, and two, why it would be in the child's best interest to lower the amount. Child support can also be higher than the guideline amount if the combined income of both parents is higher than $15,000 per month. So I also get this question a lot. What if one parent does not want to work, or what if one parent decides to quit their job? So that could be considered voluntary impoverishment. So if one parent could work but chooses not to work, the court can still treat that parent as having income. This is called imputing income. To impute income, the court has to find that the parent is voluntarily impoverished, which means that the person can work but chooses not to work. Proving that the other parent is voluntarily impoverished may include showing the other parent's physical health, level of education, work history, ability to earn money, and efforts to find a job. So now I'll transition into child support modification. So let's say child support was already established, but let's say something has happened since the initial child support determination was made. Let's say a parent lost their job, especially during these times of the pandemic. A lot of people are experiencing that issue where, maybe, you lost your job and you want to find out, is that a material change in circumstances? And if so, how you would go about filing for a child support modification. So, as I just stated, a party can file a motion to modify child support if there has been a material change in circumstances since the initial child support order was issued. So here I've listed some examples. You can look at those and see. But like I said, especially during these times, one of the common examples is a loss of a job. So many people are losing their job and they want to find out, well, okay, what can I do as far as my child support obligation because, I lost this job due to no fault of my own. And I want to know, is there anything that I can do to get the court to modify the child support? So that could be considered a material change in circumstances. And in a minute, I'll show you the form that you would complete to submit to the court to basically file that motion to modify child support.
Nashia, we do have one question. I guess it's perfect timing. What if the non-custodial parent is on workman's comp and not able to work?
And so, okay, so I'm assuming the question is, and they're not able to pay, hold on. If the non-custodial parent is on workers' comp, I would say you may want to contact our office just so I can get a little bit more information, and we could do a one-on-one consultation, because it's kind of tough to say with just that limited information. So I would say contact our office. You can schedule a time, and I can meet with you personally via Zoom or over the phone, and we'll have much more time to really, talk more in detail about the circumstances as far as what's going on.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? This is the perfect time to ask away. All right, so if there are no other questions, now I'm going to just show you the forms that you would complete if you wanted to file for child support. So I'll show you the child support complaint first, and then I'll also show you the motion to modify. All right, so this is the complaint for child support. This document can be found on family law court forms. This is what it looks like. They have different sections. Family law court forms, you want to go down to family, I believe. Or no, was it, let's see. I think it was under the custody section. Let me just verify that. Child custody, yes. Okay, so you'll see it here, complaint for child support. All right, so this is the complaint for child support. I'm just going to run through this really quickly. Right here at the top, this is called the caption. So you would fill in, circuit court. If you're filing in Prince George's County, located at the court's address. You don't have a case number yet. So if you're filing this complaint with the court, you don't have a case number yet. You'll get a case number after you file it. Plaintiff, if you're the person that's completing the form, you're the plaintiff. So your information goes on the left. The defendant's information, that's the other non-custodial parent. Their information go on the right. All right. So you go down. My name is your name. You state that you are the mother or father, or if there's a different relationship, if you're an auntie, grandma, grandpa, or guardian, that goes there. The relationship goes there. Okay, here is the section where you'll put the children's names and date of birth. Okay, so names and date of birth. Number 2, this is where you would put if there's any other open cases, any open court cases, you will fill that information in section number 2. Now, like I said, don't worry if this is going a little bit too fast for you and you want more one-on-one assistance. Please contact our office and we can schedule in for a consultation, and I can actually walk you through these forms on a one-on-one basis. All right. Number 3, you're going to put where the child or children live. So address, name, who they live with. Okay. And then number 4, this is the non-custodial parent. So this is the other parent's name. You'll check if they're the mother or the father and check all the boxes that apply. Okay. All right. So at the very end, it says for these reasons, you ask the court to order that. You will check all that apply. You'll check this box if you want the person, the non-custodial parent, to pay child support in an amount required by the Maryland Child Support Guidelines. If you want the child support to be paid by earnings withholding order through the local support enforcement agency, which is the Office of Child Support, you'll check that box there. If you want the person to provide health insurance, you write that there, that person, him or her, name there. And then last box here, well, the box before the last, if you want the other person to pay back child support arrears, you would put, check this box here. All right, so that is the complaint for child support. Okay, So if you want to, while I'm still on the complaint for child support, let me mention this. So to open a new case at the circuit court, it's $165. So you have to pay $165 money order payable to the clerk of the circuit court along with your complaint for child support. For child support modifications, it's $31. So I'll move on to the petition to modify child support. So again, we're looking at the caption. Okay, so I went over that already. The caption, similar, basically, it's similar to the complaint for child support as far as how it starts off. Your name, you're the mother, father, guardian, the children's names, date of birth. Okay, number 2 is where it's different. All right, so number 2, it says on such and such date. So this is the date where your initial child support order was issued. The circuit court 4, you're going to put the city or the county where the initial child support order was issued. And you're going to put the case number. So you put the case number on this line here. Ordering, this is the non-custodial parent's name. To pay, the amount. You're going to check whether it's weekly, biweekly, or monthly toward the support of the children. Number 3, since the most recent order, circumstances have changed. So this is where it gets into you having to write down what the material change in circumstance has been. So you check the box that applies, okay? So it says expenses for the children have substantially increased. If that's the case, you're right. You'll fill in the reasons why. You'll explain that. Whether if they've decreased, again, you'll check the box and explain, give your reasons. Here, you would check the box if the non-custodial parent or maybe your income has substantially increased or decreased. So you'll check the boxes that are appropriate. This box here, you would check if the child or children are no longer entitled to receive child support because the child, and you would check all that apply, okay? Has he reached the age of 18, has reached the age of 19, is married, is emancipated, has died, or any other change that has occurred. Again, at the end, for these reasons, I request the court check all that apply. So you'll check all the boxes that apply, whether you're asking for an increase in child support, decrease in child support, order for the child support to be paid by an earnings withholding order through the local support enforcement agency, or directly to the person who has custody, order non-custodial parents to provide health insurance for the children. And at the very bottom, this is where you're going to write your information, okay? All right, so that is the petition to modify child support. Now, with the petition to modify child support and the complaint to establish child support, with both of those documents, you also have to complete what's called a financial statement. So you can also find this document on that on the family court forms page that I just showed you a few moments ago. But you will fill out this document also and attach this document to your complaint. Okay, so I'll go through this one too really quickly. So again, the caption is the same. You're going to fill in the information the same as you did the other 2 documents. Your name, I am you put your relationship, children's name, date of birth. Okay, you come down. The following is a list of my income and expenses. All right, so you'll put your total income before taxes. Okay. Child support, I am paying for my other child children each month. So if you're paying child support for any other children, you want to put that information there. Alimony, I'm paying each month to person's name. You put the amount. Alimony I'm receiving each month from person's name and the amount. For the child or children listed above, the monthly health insurance premium. So if you're paying for health insurance, maybe through your job, you want to put the amount, how much you pay each month. You want to write that down there. Any work-related monthly child care expenses, you want to include that. Any extraordinary monthly medical expenses, you want to include that. And if you had school or transportation expenses, which I don't believe is really occurring during these times, but you might, I do know that there are some public schools that are still open and operating. So if you have any school and transportation expenses, you want to put that amount there, okay? Then at the end, you date and sign it. And this is just kind of explains to you the definitions for the different things that are mentioned on the document. So those are the 3 documents that I wanted to go over with you all. Does anyone have any questions? All right. So if no one has any questions, I want to just say thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions that come up after this broadcast is over, I would encourage you to contact our office at the number that's listed on the screen. You can also send us an email at info@clspgc.org. And yeah, we're open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. And we encourage you all to give us a call with any legal questions you may have. So thank you.
I also just want to add that we'll be back right here on Facebook Live and YouTube tomorrow and Wednesday evening to discuss expungement and landlord-tenant matters. We also have this Saturday a virtual legal clinic hosted on Zoom where attorneys will be available to provide expungement, document prep, landlord-tenant legal advice, and also child support modification as we discussed tonight. Thank you.